So why do we feel we're not hitting the ball as far as we know we can? We've got that power, and every once in a while, that perfect shot comes out of the bag, flies 20 yards further, and just gives us that sense of inspiration that we know we can play the game. And we know that power's within us. We know what we're capable of, but why can't we access it? Maybe there's things that you're doing that are inhibiting and restricting that transfer of speed to get that distance you know you can get. Well, we're going to start off with a pressure plate. You might be trying to hit the golf ball. You might be trying to put lots of power in, but you might be doing it from the wrong place. You might be doing it from somewhere that's actually going to slow the swing down. We all know about hitting the ball. We all know about ball focus. We know about sequencing. We know how we should sequence, but do we know how to use the forces to sequence? We know the hips have got to go. We know the chest has got to go. And the club comes back with lag. People might even try and keep lag, but lag's really just a function of good mechanics, efficiency of motion. And motion happens when you use forces. So we need to create the right forces. So if we generate the power from here, we're probably going to get some movements we're not expecting. For example, if the movement starts with the torso, look what happens at the feet. I get a twisted effect in the opposite direction. So on the pressure plate, if we notice the white line between the feet, that's the line of pressure. When I go to rotate to the left with my body, the white line moves in the opposite direction. It starts to twist. That's what you're seeing with the board. So now I've got a torque at the floor which is counter to the direction I want to travel. But if I throw a ball or swing a club, a baseball bat, that line of pressure rotates with me. It precedes the motion. So this torque is allowing me to sequence from the ground up. And now it's allowing me to transfer the vertical force, because this is the force that you can sense. This is the load. This is the power that you can feel you've got. But because you're restricting the torque, you're going to inhibit that flow, that transfer of force through the body. So what can we do to attune ourselves to this use of forces? So we don't get the twisting. We start to use the forces efficiently. So the body is shifting its weight, and the torque is providing the perfect conditions to use the vertical force. We don't need the club for starters. The first thing we can do is just sense sequencing. Let the arms relax and just twist the body. And let your head go with it. And just get a sense of the arms getting thrown away from the body in both directions. So you can hear the arms and feel the arms slapping against the stomach and the back. So the elbows are just relaxed, free to flex and extend. Then keep the head centered, rotate around the head, then stop the hips. So all I'm feeling now are my shoulders, my rib cage. Then introduce the hips. And notice the hips initiating that movement. The hip motion is swinging the arms. But what's moving the hips? It's the feet. And as you notice, as I'm doing this on the pressure plate, you can see the line of pressure rotating. And that is the torque from the ground that I can use in the system to swing the arms. Every joint in the body now, the big rotating joints, the ankles, the hips, the thoracic spine, they can use these forces. Now we can start to add some shift and time the vertical. So we start to widen the stance, we make the same movement and we jump both ways. So now you can feel yourself jump off the floor on the way back and on the way through. The arms are doing nothing. They're just getting pulled by the body. the forces that you're creating from the body are swinging the arms. It's the same as throwing. What do you sense when you throw a ball? You go up. But how do you go up? Well, you don't keep your weight on both feet. You don't throw off your back foot. You don't stay bent with the knees and the hips and try and throw this way. You extend up, you rotate, and where do you rotate from? From the ground. You use the feet. So you'll notice on the pressure plate, the weight's going from the heels to the toes. And this is creating that rotation. And the weight shift now creates the momentum and enables the body to move into a place where it can extend with ease and use this vertical force and transfer it to the arms and ultimately to the club. So we start off with the sequencing, and then we stand wider, and then we start to feel ourselves unload. You don't have to jump off the floor, just feel yourself extend. And the arms get taken with it. You don't have to jump, but if you want to jump on the way through, it's going to give you a feel of the timing of that force to release the arm, the hand, the club. So when we swing the club, we can now get a sense of that torque, that twisting from the ankles, from the hips. And that's going to allow us to unload. And this is how we're going to tap into that power. This is how we're going to tap into that vertical force that you can feel, you can sense in the system, but you're not unleashing. So we can start to then hit shots, swinging from one leg to another and extending on both legs, on the right leg, then the left leg, right leg, left leg. Allow the legs to extend, allow the hips to rotate. It opens up the pelvic motion when you start to extend, because you're going to rotate the ankles. Now you're using the feet because the feet are rotating the ankles with the hips. So your hips are involved, your pelvis is moving. All this activity from the ground up is enabling the forces to transfer through the system. So let the weight shift, let your body extend. And whenever you feel comfortable, just play a shot. And then just watch the golf ball, stay in your finish. Can you see the body's extended? The ankle, the hip, we've extended. We might still be flexed. We don't have to be in extension, we have extended. We've lifted off the floor. Or we may feel like we've lifted off the floor. It may not look like it. We might not go airborne. That doesn't matter. We can feel our weight unloading from the floor. Now we're not just jumping. Otherwise, you'll see on the pressure plate, I'm not using the ground for rotation. Can you see here, I'm swinging. I can even make a full turn, but the pressure plate shows very little torque. In fact, zero torque in the direction I'm moving. Very little weight shift too. These forces are reacting to the upper body. So I'm not really creating useful forces from the ground that I can transfer through the lower body to the upper body. I'm working top down instead of bottom up. We want to be working from the floor up. So we've got to feel what the feet are doing, the ankles, the hips. Feel that timing with the weight shift. Feel that extension with the rotation. Feel the heel to toe motion. And allow yourself to rotate and go up. So we're swinging up. Notice what happens when you swing the club up. You extend. Feel that extension through the left side here, my lead side. So feel that extension, make a few swings, and then just clip a ball away. Just revisiting this follow through that you've recognised in the practice swing. The ball's not that relevant. That's not our performance indicator. Our performance indicator is our awareness of the movement we're making. Now we're becoming reflective. Did the movement I make in practice feel like the one with the ball? The ball's irrelevant though. Topped, thinned, shanked, doesn't matter. Did the movement feel similar? Now you're starting to develop a sense of awareness for your body movement. And can you feel that form of movement you need to extend. And then we can go to the ball, and now we can become a little bit more shot focused, not ball focused. We're aware of the ball, but we're not focused on the ball, we're focused on the shot. And then we swing and go to that finish again. And now we're watching the ball fly, and now we can start to maybe play a range game, adapt it to a range game, immerse ourselves in controlling the ball flight, whilst having a sense of the movement. And we can go back to the drills to refresh that feeling, familiarise ourselves and reinforce those feelings, which are enabling us to then adapt, to play the fades, play the draws, and start to recognise how we're using these forces. The finish, but looking at the ground, not just looking at the upper body and the club. What did the lower body do? We can make a swing that looks perfect, even at speed. But when you look at the forces, they're not moving. I'm hardly creating any force from the ground. It's all from the upper body. You can even feel, I can feel the strain. You can hear the stress, the strain in my voice. I'm having to really try to hold this position. This isn't an effortless golf swing. This is the complete opposite. This is me trying, this is me making a swing, as opposed to using these forces, transferring them through the body, and now I'm not going to be putting so much effort in. Now it's easy. Now we're using economy of effort. Just like throwing the ball. We're using the forces efficiently. And this is how we're going to tap in to that extra distance.